cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. Just black and white. Black and white, just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, oh, oh.
everybody, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sim Racers World TV for a brand new season of Formula 3 Series action. My name is SRW. I'm joined by Edward May for the opening rounds 1A, 2A and 3A from Suzuka, Japan. What a place to open up the season. What a season and what a series to be in, Edward. It's an absolute pleasure to be here for me. And I hope it is for you as well.
Oh, absolutely, Hasse. Yes, the start of a new season here for the Sim Racers World F3 series, of course, partnered with Sim Stickers for yet another series. Glad to have them on board and allowing us to provide you with live pictures, sound, and vision here at the Suzuka circuit for the opening few races of this season. I believe it is rounds 1, 2, and 3A here this evening, Hasse, because we have a new format for the drivers to contend with.
We do indeed, and it's an interesting one. It's a, you could call it a split season, if you will. It's sort of two playoffs, an A part and a B part of the season. The A part consisting of the four first weeks of racing, 3 rounds to each. And the B part, well, the same, a block of the same size, if you will. And it's basically who can score the most points in half a season. And it's an extra chance for whoever sort of gets struck by bad luck and such. It'll open up things. It'll be really interesting. And then we'll have 2 final races to round it all off at the end of it. We'll go into details once we get a little bit further into the broadcast. But by the way, excuse me for a little hiccup that we had in the intro. I had to stop the stream quickly. Got to start it again. We're running without any issues, so all should be good. Go to live pictures here from qualifying indeed, because there isn't all that much time left of the open 20-minute qualifying session. 7 minutes to be exact.
7 minutes. Yep.
And as always, any returning viewers of this series will know that we've got 3 classes of drivers within the championship: precision, consistency, and academy. Have the leaders on top of your screen. We got the first question since well. Actually says, when does the first race start? Well, race 1 is set to start at 9 p.m. Central European time, which is of course 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time plus 1, I would say. Since we're still on daylight saving time here. But with that answered, well, let's go into the format. It's the first open wheel series that I commentate on for a very, very long time. I think it's the first open wheel series in iRacing altogether. I've been wanting to get my hands on this for a long time, so I'm quite excited about it. We're gonna have 2 short races and a slightly longer race, so 2 approximately 20-minute or 9-lap races. And then a third race of a maximum of 17 laps or 30 minutes of racing we'll be contending with tonight. We'll have some short breaks when we set up for the different races. So I'll do my best to guide you through. So if you hear music playing and see a pause screen, then arm yourselves with a little bit of patience, and shall see to it that it shall be duly rewarded. In terms of some great racing action on screen here tonight, we're watching the privateer Stephen Grabowski, American, in the 248 machine. Of course, these Dallara F3 machines aren't the current gen machines, if you will. They are by now a few years old, but nevertheless, for me at least, one of the most fun cars, not only to drive, but especially to race in the world of iRacing. These do a magnificent job.
Yes, and this is set to be a great start to what is an amazing upcoming season, I am sure. Just seeing now Bart Daleman for Sim Racers World Esports, a very handy pilot of his Formula 3. You can see that he's in a very good turn of pace. And as someone who took part in this series toward the tail end of last season, these cars, they're just so much fun to drive, to contend with. And you need to be very brave, very committed into the corners. Can't really take too many mistakes, and it's all about as well getting the braking done nicely. You can brake a little bit harder than you might expect to, but not too hard, because if you lock up, that just scrubs so much of your speed and makes the car really unstable, really twitchy into the corners. So it's all about braking hard, but not too hard, trailing it into the corner, carrying the momentum through, using all of the downforce that Formula 3 has. You're going to see a great example of this now coming up into Spoon Curve on board. Look at Bart Dailman just sending it in, kissing the apex and the exit curve nicely, aiming for that late apex, missing it slightly, but powering out nonetheless. It could still be a good lap time for Bart Dailman because he can pick up a little bit of switching from the car in front and then coming into 130R. Absolutely flat out in these cars. Trust in the downforce. Let's on through. It's easy breezy for Bart Dailman to go through that. Actually now into Casio Triangle. Can use the curbs a little bit, but not too hard. Actually, Bart Dailman really getting over the curbs. Trust the car. Balances the throttle and brake nicely to keep the car nice and stable. And then powers out and across the start-finish line. I don't think there's an improvement. Actually, there is a personal best, but not enough to go faster than Tobias, or what I've been told is Tobias Olsen, who's currently fastest of them all, only by around about 700ths of a second.
It's very, very, very close indeed. And just speaking of Tobias Olsen, Swede here, racing for Alcantech NHR by Simlag, the number 19 machine. It's expected to see small time gaps. Of course, we're running a fixed setup for the entirety of the series, so no room to play with for the drivers in that sense, and trying to adjust the car to their personal liking. They'll have to adjust their driving styles to fit the machines, the F3s, and may I just remind you that we do have the new damage model, so if we do have incidents, fingers crossed, of course we don't want those, but we will see parts flying everywhere, and that is a spectacular sight, to say the very least. Of course, I'm not going to be a doomsayer of any kind, but it is indeed a thing. Currently fastest in consistency, second overall for year one racing. It's Brian, and I will take it, Edward, that it's McAuliffe.
Yeah, McAuliffe or Michaelef. I'm not sure which way you would pronounce that, but if we do one and then I do the other, then we should be able to cover our bases here. So I'm going to go Michaelef.
So I go McAuliffe, and one of us will be right, one of us will be wrong. Let's not go. Oh, and there's a touch, and it's not Dailman, it's the 24 car. That was Bart Dailman, I'm afraid, wasn't it?
No, Bart Dailman was we just saw coming out of the pits.
Oh, he was somewhere else. It was not the 24 car.
Else.
So,
could have been.
My apologies.
Nick Sherman's.
Screw. Yeah, the 204 car. So I didn't see the 0 in the middle, and that's of course my bad. Oh, and there you see the nose cone clean off, even as he hits the soft barrier there.
And there's no time for him to come out and set another lap, I don't think. No, he's not gone out. So that is the end of qualifying there for Matthias Gruen. Tim Rutten carries on though. 1:39 for year one racing. The Dutchman looking to get off to a flying start in his championship hopes in the consistency class, but you can see there is a definite outlier at the moment in Ryan Michaelef for year one racing. His teammate Tim Rutten, though, what can he do? Is there any late improvements going through in the session? He'll come across the line now with just enough time to set another, should he choose to, should he opt to. Actually, no, he doesn't, because the checkered flag gets waved. That's it for qualifying. No chance for drivers to improve on laps that they were on, and this is the grid for the first round.
So it's precision on pole for Tobias Olsen, Alcantech NHI, and a very competitive 151.3. But it's a consistency driver in second there with Ryan McAuliffe. Bart Dailman third ahead of Kevin Poon, then James Forsythe, Kevin Semstra, and Ben Hoffman. And Rice Saunders, Mark Fletcher, Miguel Freitas, and Mark van Dalen 11th ahead of Philip Russell. Further down, it's Tim Rutten in 13th ahead of Wayne Palmer, Silas Kraf-Frolik, and Dominikas Joviasa. It's Nick Skurmans in 17th ahead of Dries Moody, Stephen Wolf, and Martin Deckens. Hans Poelmans in 21st ahead of Luis Correa. It's Paul Gutton in 23rd ahead of Stefan Grabowski. We got Joel Erlenbroek, Taylor Lane, Jürgen van der Perre, and Jens Hoosens down in 28th place. 29th, is Matthijs Groen. We've got Robert Odoms in 13th place ahead of Dennis Virenka, Phil Reagan, Daniele Guiducci, and Greg Parmenter in 34th. Rounding off the field, 31st and 36th. A massive field indeed. Paul Smith and Adam Oshawa.
So, Hassa, the stage is set for the first round 1A of the Sim Stickers Simracersworld F3 series. Heat 1 is set to be a cracker, isn't it? With Tobias Olsen at the front. He'll go to do battle with Ryan Michaeleff into the first couple of corners.
I was just about to say, where did the camera go there for a second? They do have 15 seconds left there. The lights are on. That means all drivers are on grid. We're waiting the green flag now. And once the lights go out, you know what kind of a race we're going to have. There's been an early start, I think, there from row 2. That might have been disastrous. I think that was Bart Daleman. And let's see all the cars. Will they get cleanly into turn 1 and 2? Oh, that's Olsen defending his inside from Ryan Michaeleff and Kevin Poole. Someone's left hanging on the outside there. Miguel Freitas, I'm afraid, I think lost a few positions, but is clearly still running. And I think, actually, Edward, it seems so far, and I have a tendency sometime to say this just before we got the incident, and I didn't even get this far, because up through the S's, there's been the first incident of the season.
Huge accident.
Indeed,
Several cars involved.
Dennis Virenka is off. Greg Parmenter as well. Taylor Lane back to the front end though, because Olsen gets very wide and Daleman has a sketchy moment on the cold tires as he's getting chased by Kevin Poole. It's a very, very close field here. And impressive indeed.
Whoa, there's been movement into the Casio triangle. Who is that? I can see a year 1 car off the circuit. Who was that? Was that Rhys Saunders, perhaps? You can see him just running back on the circuit now. It was Rhys Saunders. So something must have happened coming into there on the brakes. You would imagine so when the cars are racing in such close proximity. Accidents are likely to happen. This was it. He looks to the inside.
Oh, it's a net code.
Net code, I think. That's definitely the dirty word in iRacing, net code, onto the rear of Rhys Saunders that sent him into the side of another car. I'm not sure who got collected in that incident.
And here's the incident from earlier as well. Last part of the S's just before Dunlop, and that's not what we wanted to see.
I think we saw Jakub Szymanski also getting caught up in there as well. The 295, the Polish driver, unfortunately losing out there. Several cars, though. It's very difficult to avoid an incident like that when it's all across the circuit. You never know what sort of trajectory the cars are going to be on. And that's just what happens, unfortunately, at these early phases of the race when the cars are so close together. But thankfully, majority of the field getting through there, especially these front runners, and we can be on for maybe a good close fight for the lead and also for the podium there is Kevin Poole coming in. And oh, what's happened there too? Was that Michaeleff?
I believe that was, but I'm just being made aware that we are experiencing technical issues, I'm afraid. No?
There is Kevin Poole.
Well, I just got it to work, so...
Michaeleff.
Yeah, I'm afraid so as well. My excuses for being off there for a second, but it most certainly has. And I'll do my best to just pull back on that.
Kevin's looking to try and come through on another. Kevin versus Kevin. I think Kevin's going to be able to get into P3 here. You can see Hearn around the outside and the number 30 going ahead of Kevin Zemstra down the inside into turn 1. They will fight side by side, but Zemstra just can't hold on. He'll fight it through, though, on the inside for turn 2. Gets a great run, and then look, all of a sudden, who's getting into the mix? Well, that is the number 11 of Mark Fletcher, Altitude Esports, coming at the judge. Oh, Ryan Michaeleff just on the AstroTurf on the exit. That was what happened into Spoon Curve. Well, we saw driver in second place, the Year 1 Racing driver, making a small mistake, but that has had big consequences for his race, unfortunately.
Just have to wonder. Oh, he's all the way down behind Tim Rudden. So the Year 1 boys, well, he's second in the class though, so it's by no means a disaster in that sense. Could have been a lot better had he been second overall. first, of course, in his class. Speaking of class, it's time to get that class display up there. Again, apologies for any connection hiccups. I usually have a stable connection, but I've had problems that doesn't really relate to my internet connection, but rather to OBS not being steady on the connection to YouTube. In which situations I would have had to restart OBS. I did that, which is why we had a small picture breakup on the intro. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we should be all right by now. The dust has sort of settled here, Edward, on the intro, and it's Kevin Poon who's trying to defend here from... I think that's Mark Fletcher. They made contact!
Kevin has a collision with Kevin Poon and Zemstra, and there's yet more contact as now the front wing has been completely ripped off, the nose cone missing. Oh, that was from just the two of them getting together onto the brakes into the Casio triangle. And Mark Fletcher gets 2 places handed to him here. You can see this was coming out of 130i. He had the run. He was entitled to make a charge down there. That throws the number 30 into braking later, much, much later than Kevin Zemstra. Kevin Zemstra gets a hit up the rear. Nothing he could do. And unfortunately, I think that's just an incident caused by Kevin Poon being a little bit too maybe optimistic on the brakes.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I won't say anything more about the dust having settled or anything. I'm expecting full chaos for the rest of this one. James Forsyth now on the tail of Dennis Virenga. We're quite a bit of way back here, and Ryan McAuliffe has gone through on Tim Rutten. So that's certainly a swift move by the 171. Tim Year 1 switching places. Further down here, another of the Year 1 cars. That's Mark van Dalen on the tail of Paul Godden. Gives us a good chance to explore. View of the cameras on the F3. That is actually not what I had in mind. This was the one. Beautiful shot indeed. The working suspension there. Oh, someone's off on the outside there, and I think that threw off Paul Godden ever so slightly. And I believe we'd had a problem.
Zemstra, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say it. On board we are here. You can see it just goes from him.
Was that a similar incident to what we saw happen to, I believe, was that Ryan McAuliffe earlier on in this race? But actually having a look through the standings, you can see that Ryan has now gotten back up into the lead of the consistency class here in 5th place, just ahead of his teammate. But Tim Rutten's looking down the inside. No team orders here at Year 1 Racing. Oh, that was very close to ending in tears, but they keep it nice and safe for the moment. But, well, Tim Rutten is not going to be wanting to give this up without a fight. He can see that the first consistency win of the season is within grasp. But the precision class seems for all the world to be in the hands of Tobias Olsson, who's doing a very good job. The flying Swede up at the front. Bart Daleman in 2nd, Mark Fletcher 3rd, Miguel Freitas 4th. And we obviously come through all of the consistency class drivers. Philip Russell 14, Fordzilla in 9th. Jens Goossens 11 wheel, I believe, teammate. Jol Udenbroek just in front, rounding out the top 10.
And first in our academy class as well. Very much worth mentioning. We are already through the halfway point of this race 1A, or round 1A you would probably call it, but sprint racing it is, and at its very, very best. Here's Dominikas Jovaisha in the 86 car and on the tail of Luis Correa. And meanwhile, I'm afraid Jakub Szymanski has had some kind of issue there. Very quick into turn 1, unsettles the car. And that costs him a bit of a spinner onto the AstroTurf.
We could just see Luis Correa under a lot of pressure here as Dominikas sends it through on him, takes that position. Great stuff there from Dominikas in the precision class, showing exactly why he's there. From such a nice, clean, laser-guided maneuver down the inside of the Casio triangle. Here's another move. This is from Silas Krag Vrolik, getting a pass done I believe that to be on Robert Odams.
And we've seen this one, Hans Pullmans and Taylor Lane really going for it. And 2 wide through turns 1 and through 2 as well, staying there all the way up to the S's. Usually not a place you want to do it, but they go ahead. And I know it's a replay, but we didn't catch it. It's absolutely great to see people asking, where is Hansi? He's right here in the 1-2-5 on the inside. But it'll be the outside through Dunlop. And that means he does indeed lose the position there, I'm sorry, to Taylor Lane. And I don't know why some of the flags seems to be a little messed up. We'll see if we can get that fixed as quickly as possible. We have a big field indeed here. I was just going to touch upon that, Edward. We're trying our best to cover all the action all around, but we only have so much time and we have so many cars to look at. A lot of stuff going on here. But indeed, it's been action-packed over the first 10 minutes of racing here.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the times being set by the front 4. They're all very close together. In fact, Tobias Olsen, Bart Damon, and Mark Flescher all last time doing 1 minute 51.5s. 1 minute 51.57 was the fastest done by Bart Daleman, and there is bonus point for fastest lap. And then look, they're going to the 51.4s now with Bart Daleman going a little bit quicker than Tobias Olsen there with a 51.42.
Oh!
A huge moment here, Hasse.
Massive incident. I think that's Silas Kraft-Frohlich and Robert Odams. I'm afraid so. That was a massive hit indeed. Let's we can get a little bit of a view. That seems to be an unnecessary touch. Might be a bit of a netcode. It's been enough to bounce Robert Odams' car up into the air. And a heavy coming together with the steel barrier on the outside. And now having taken over the lead as well in Academy. That's Luis Correa, the 277. Still Olsen, Daleman, Fletcher, and Freitas, the 4 leaders of precision. Then we have a gang of consistency drivers. Caliph, Rutten, Palmer, Moody, Russell, and Erlenbrook. And, well, it's Correa ahead of Grabowski, Gutton, and Reagan in Academy at the moment. Just a few laps to go of this opening heat.
And the heat is on, isn't it? Hasse here for the old Udenblock, as he's got now Dominicas closing in and Louis Correa. So can he weather the storm? Can Yol stay ahead as they come through 130R? They're going to fight 2 wide, Hasse, through 130R. This is amazing stuff. And you know what? Whoa, that was a great pass. And you know what? Louis Correa fancies a go. Dominicas goes through down the inside of 130R. And Louis Correa says, you know what? I'm going to take my chances as well. And gets up into P11.
Double whammy here for Joel Erlenbrook as well, who loses so much speed into 130R, not wanting to do that too wide, that he it's a sitting duck on the exit there. Nothing he can do about getting overtaken. And we've had a problem here for Kevin Poon as well, and it's into the Casio triangle. He touches the grass on the inside, and how the car behind did not pick him up in that situation. That is Jedi-like reflexes to control the car as well. Beautiful work. That could have been much worse indeed. As further down in the field, Greg Parmenter is doing his best to move on up through.
Now back up to this really intense fight for 10th place overall. Dominicas Yovasia having a nice clean drive up through the field, making 6 places up into P10. Nice effort from himself. But can he keep Louis Correa at bay? He's building that gap corner by corner. So you'd expect maybe coming through Spoon Curve to have a bit of an advantage, but the slipstream is very strong in these Formula 3 cars. That's Could be closer than he would be hoping for. As you can see in the background, Louis Carrera is getting closer and closer each time by as we come now to Daniele Giudici. Sim Stickers Racing here, Hasse.
That's going to be race ending, I'm afraid, for the 244 of Daniele Giudici. Or it seems to be crapping to me. It's quite incredible that he can actually keep on driving it, but so it seems. We have the white flag out for the race leader. Up through the S's, and to be honest, we haven't seen much of Tobias Olsen, but he's done a brilliant drive so far, though Bart Daleman has kept him somewhat under pressure, but 2 seconds still the gap. Mark Fletcher a further 3 seconds down. Bit of a spread here on the top runners. Olsen's passed on Giudici, that's no surprise given the damage of the 244 as he sails by on the outside. And we've had an issue, I'm afraid, while we're at it here for Thijs van den Bergen. Oh. Not only a spin, but a bit of a touch as well.
So easy to do there, Has to get on the power a little bit too soon. You want to get on the throttle as early as you can to maximize your run out of the corners. Also helps a little bit with the traction stability to get on the power nice and softly. But if you go that little bit too hard mid-corner, you will find the rear of the car penduluming around you as you lose grip. And once you do get that first little loss of contact with the tyres on the ground, that's it. There's not really much you can do to save it. So we should see that coming through as we follow now. This is Tim Rutten getting through, actually, on Ryan Michaelef. So
a bit of a mistake.
Opportunistic overtake there, making good work on Ryan Michaelef's mistake. But Tobias Olsen will come across the line and take race victory here, Hasse.
Indeed, brilliant job from the Swede to take an opening round win here. Likes to flag. Daleman gets second ahead of Mark Fletcher and Miguel Freitas. Then Tim Rutten, Ryan Michaelef, Wayne Palmer, Dries Moody, and Philip Russell. They all come in. Oh, and there's still positions to be fought for one final time into the triangle here. As Adam Oshiwala's on the tail of Craig Schill.
Forsyth goes fastest. He's got the fastest lap. That's an extra bonus point for Forsyth, I've just noticed. But look at this across the line. Adam Oshiwala not able to get through. So Craig Schill holds on for 19th place for Wes Tech Autosport. That was a very late improvement, actually. A very good time at the end there for James Forsyth, able to bag a bonus point for himself in the precision class fastest lap.
Well, indeed. Can get the results up quite yet. Not gonna try yet. We're gonna have a second look at the race start. You can see a little bit more from further back. This is at the head of affairs. It's incredible to see something like this, Edward, with so many cars trying to fit in on, well, not that much space, and for once they all make it up to around here. Someone has a bit of an off in the final bit of the SS here up towards Dunlop. That's the next right-hander to come. But impressive stuff nonetheless. And with that said, I think we do have the results ready. I'm afraid not. A little bit too quickly on my end there. So drivers round with the index, and there we have it. And we can even actually hop through as I wanted to here. There we go, through the classes. Here is the precision class results from round 1. And that is Tobias Olsen ahead of Bart Daleman, Mark Fletcher, Miguel Freitas, Dominika Jovicia, and Mark van Dalen ahead of James Forsyth, Kevin Poon, Kevin Sremstra, Chris Saunders, Silas Kraft Frohlich, and Nick Schuurmans. And again, I'll have a look through the file for this one because something seems to have gone wrong. with some of the nationalities. And of course, our excuses on on that part. Consistency. And consistency, we shall have Tim Rutten ahead of Ryan Mikalev. They had a pretty good fight throughout the race there. Wayne Palmer gets third in class ahead of Dries Moody, Philip Russell, Joel Erlenbroek, and Hans Pullmans. Taylor Lane, Martin Deckens, Paul Smith, Stephen DeWolf, and Ben Hoffman rounding off the consistency class of round 1A. Then in the Academy class, it's Louis Correa ahead of Stefan Grabowski, Paul Gutton, Phil Reagan, Dennis Virenka, Craig Schill in 5th place there, and 6th, my apologies, ahead of Adam Oshiwala, Greg Parmenter, Jens Husens, and Jakob Szymanski in 10th place. Then Matthijs Groen, Daniel Guiducci, and Jürgen van der Perre, Thijs van den Berge, and Robert Bodems. With that said, Edward, I think we're sort of back to warm up for the next one here.
Yeah, but not for too much longer because the checker flag is waved, and we're going to go back to the grid for the second race, round 2A of the Sim Stickers Simracersworld Formula 3 series. And obviously the grid reflecting off of the race 1 results here, so we should be able to see them all up on the grid. And again, Tobias Olsen, front row P1 start, but this time with Bart Daleman up alongside him. The Simracersworld esports driver showed very good pace last time around, so maybe if he gets a good start, Tobias Olsen will be in for a bit of a trying time, perhaps.
Indeed. As we have the grid on screen for round 2A. As it is, and an interesting one to see if it's going to be a repeat or if anyone's going to find anything flying up ahead. But certainly an excellent opening round we've seen. Let's hope for another one indeed. Just it's a little bit better on the camera view. And indeed, we have the lights on. And it's go. Round 2A is underway. And it's Olsen from pole position. Again ahead of Daleman, Fletcher, and Freitas. And a little bit of bargy there, almost between the 2 year 1 cars. And the question this time around, Edward, will we see everyone get safely away? And I'm afraid that's not the case at all.
Oh, huge incident. There's several cars all off, and it's, I think, the exact same corner where we saw the dramas last time.
I'm afraid you are correct on that one, Ed, and what a calamity. It's meant that there's a huge gap there all of a sudden, and let's just see if we can... Oh, there's another incident, I'm afraid. I heard something happen in behind. There's gotta be a lot of frustrated drivers after a start like that one, Edward. If we can catch some pictures of exactly what went wrong. There's the contact of opening one very early there into the S's. And then it's a massive pileup in behind, and it keeps on going. In the... I was about to say in the panic that ensures that there. It's a difficult situation to be in as a driver as well. Look at that though up ahead here. Olsen really under pressure from Bart Daleman. The Swede though getting a very good run both in and out of the Casio triangle. All of a sudden it's more of a case of Mark Fletcher being on the tail of the Belgian ahead of him.
Look at them all close together coming through turns 1 and 2, and Mark Fletcher really close up behind now. Bart Daleman almost pushing him through the corner. Look at this. He's so close, but just can't find a way through. Has to settle to stick behind and hope that Bart Daleman, with a good turn of pace, can close back up to Tobias Olsen, because at this stage of the race, fighting is not something you want to do. As we have a look now, and oh, that was Jakub Szymanski actually off the track and nearly colliding with Robert Odams. Robert Odams had to get on the brakes, avoid contact with the 295. And it says again, we've got issues with the flags, but I believe him to be a Polish driver, not a Brit, as Martin Deckens. What was that, coming into the Casso Triangle? I think tap the grass, lost control, and not facing backwards into the corner, unfortunately.
Not the way you want to face. That much is certain. Daleman still being kept honest by Mark Fletcher. Who's very close to him indeed. It seems it's just
Spoon, though.
A very good run. It seems though, once you give Tobias Olsen just that little bit of breathing space, the Swede is absolutely gone. Oh, Daleman makes the defensive move, comes across.
That was a little late from Bart Daleman. He doesn't want to be making too many more of those moves, because that could have been a huge crash between himself and Mark Fletcher.
Yeah, that it could indeed. One of those situations where you also just have to say, it could have been worse. Could have been much worse. We've seen worse, I'm afraid, already. On the opening lap of this one. Look at this now. Here's Dominika Juviasza, who's under pressure from Ryan Mikalev as well.
I think that was Dominika's actually going through just ahead of Ryan Mikalev. That was the other way around. So Dominika Juviasza doing a very good job up into P5 again, up through the positions, making up 4 so far. And just shows that maybe his qualifying wasn't quite the best, but in terms of race pace and racecraft, he is definitely up there and one to watch as the season goes on.
Oh, absolutely. And it's certainly something that we will be doing. Oh my word.
A big moment there. That's the number 19. That's Tobias Olsen. That was the race leader. Damage on the front of his car. Definite suspension damage. What happened to Olsen? We just only saw tail end of him coming out of the second Degner with huge damage to that left front.
Yeah, let's have a look at it. Oh, it's way before that. So it's into the second Degner. Touches the grass and the gravel, and a mighty impact and avoiding action from several cars. It's really crapping. That's an unsafe car, and yeah, he realizes as well. It brings it to the grass. That's gonna be race over for the winner of the opening round and the leader. And drama seems to follow. Drama here at Wood May. Let's have a look. The leaders in the classes now. Daleman leading position, Rutten in the lead of consistency, and then Luis Correa leading in academy. Oh my word.
Unfortunately, yeah, that was just not to be, was it, for Olsen? He carried a bit too much speed through the second Degner, got a bump over the exit curb, and that dragged him into the soft barriers on the exit, and that tore the front of his car to shreds and meant that he will no longer be any more involved in this second race of the season. Maybe he'll, with that tow to the pits, be able to get some sort of repairs done, but in terms of scoring meaningful points, that is his evening over.
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
There is actually still, though, not to say even over, that is his race over, because there is still one further race after this one, isn't there, Hasse, where we go from this server into the next for a, I believe, almost 30-minute race, or 22 laps, is it? Not 22, is it? 17 laps, something like that.
Yes, 17 laps or 30 minutes for the final race. They'll have a separate qualifying session, 3 hot laps, and alone on track, undisturbed. Pardon me for a second. I'm just trying to fix the flags of the drivers, and it's just doesn't want to do what I'm wanting it to do at the moment, which is slightly frustrating. Of course, it's frustrating to see the nationalities being messed up. So my apologies on that. I'll see to it as to have it fixed But my problem right now is that I would have to do it manually, and it's 46 drivers to go through that list and checking while I'm talking and switching cameras and doing 10 other things at the same time is just not a possibility, I'm afraid. So whenever time and opportunity arises, well, I shall grab that.
Adam, Aussie Violet, AZ Racing Orange, we just saw and now battle up at the front. 3 cars all battling together. Miguel Freitas, we can see in the Team Mad 99, right up behind Mark Fletcher and Bart Daleman. And this is Miguel Freitas. He's got a great view, doesn't he? We're going on board with him throughout this next few moments just to see the battling pair up in front, because Bart Daleman has got a lot of work to do to keep Mark Fletcher behind. A very racy looking Mark Fletcher as well, it has to be said, showing a lot of good pace, but maybe having to pick his moments wisely in order to get through. Look at them now coming through the Dunlop hairpin. All drivers taking slightly different lines, but they were not being for the earlier apex, powering out a little later, whereas Mark Fletcher slower in, but aiming to get faster out as they come through 200R now into Spoon Curve. Look at how close Fletcher has gotten to Daleman up ahead. Can't find a way through yet. Miguel Freitas gets a face full of dirt here. You can see the air washing. He misses the apex just slightly there, but gets on the power nice and early. And all the way down now, this back stretch in towards 130R. Fletcher closing in on Daleman. Freitas looking to get to the pair of them. Defensive line being taken by Daleman into the Casio triangle. They'll have to brake hard and late in order to hold on to the position. But look at this. It's going to be a great run now from Mark Fletcher. He got the later apex. He's got the better drive out of the corner of the slipstream as well. These two you'll expect to be fighting into turn 1 and 2. Fletcher being shown the outside line by Daleman. Very early intentions being shown. And I think that inside line has been just enough for Daleman to hold on, but the signs are there. Fletcher is very hungry to come by and try and take the lead of this race.
Indeed, and you can understand why here. Let's further down, we're just going to have a look at this one here. Stephen DeVolt, Philip Russell. That's in the Ford Silla 178 machine. Here comes the Wolf, but to the outside into 130R. That's a gutsy one. Oh, but he manages to keep it there, and that gives him a good position here for the Casio triangle. Does he brake too late? However, I believe he does, and he's going to get a terrible exit, but he does get the Ford Silla machine behind him blocked, and I think that is going to be the position gained. I will hop back to the leaders here. Daleman with a slight increase in advantage. It's now about half a second with just about 3 laps left to go here of round 2A of the SRW F3 series, brought to you by Sim Stickers. I was about to say that sounds like something to expect out of StarCraft and Stim packs and everything. No, it is of course Sim Stickers. I shall certainly learn to say that correct over the course of the series. Of course, Sim Stickers, excellent provider of racing themed stickers, and not only stickers for your pleasure, but actually pragmatic stickers as well, I'd like to call it. Something you can, get printed and custom printed and put on your rig and make it nice. Mark Fletcher is putting on the pressure here to Bart Daleman, but he's being kept in it by Miguel Freitas. They're all very, very close together. More or less within a second, actually well within a second of each other, the top 3 at the moment. And still a few laps left here, so everything can still happen, even at the race for top positions in the precision class, and in consistency as well here, because Ryan Micallef's gone through on Tim Rudden into turn 1. Got a good run down the start-finish straight, and he's got that done already. And here is Dries Moody, who I am aware is not a Brit as well. Again, apologies for what seems to be a hiccup in our file system, I believe, or in the way we program the broadcast software. That's
and if
I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, if that is the case and we can't get it fixed, we will try and get it sorted for the next round. So you might just have to bear with us for the time being and just enjoy the racing. Enjoy this fight we have that Bart Daleman has seemingly been trying to run away from now, as he's been able to build nearly a second gap to Mark Fletcher in behind. And Miguel Freitas, I don't know if he's going to want to fight at this stage. He'll probably be wanting to stay behind and hope that Fletcher can close into the Sim Racers World Esports car, the 24 of Bart Daleman, and bring back the chance of a race victory to himself. Because if Miguel Freitas was to fight with Fletcher now, the pair of them would just lose touch with the car ahead. So I think that's exactly what Freitas is doing, opting to go to the outside line, show that he isn't looking to pass Mark Fletcher, instead allowing Mark to focus 100% on closing in to the race leader. We start lap 8 of 9, 2 more turns of this Suzuka circuit still to go in race 2 of the evening.
Indeed it is. Adams is quite close as well to Greg Parmenter. Battle for 6th in Academy. Battle for the lead, however, in that class is not that close, as Luis Correa is we're 7 seconds clear of Jens Husens, who's second. Mind you, a lot of the field further down was indeed split by that big lap 1 incident, I'm afraid. The big talking point of this one is going to be the incident of Tobias Olsen, though. And of course, had a bit of an issue here for Daniele Fiducci. Seems to be not a good place to be, but he gets the car moving quickly as well. Another one for, see this car for like 28 car. Ooh. Just touches the grass or the gravel. But Tobias Olsen indeed took a little bit more of it, with the dire consequences indeed.
Mark Fletcher there, closing into Bart Damon just a little bit quicker, a little bit closer than last time by. Will this be enough, though, to mount a charge on the final lap that's coming up? The white flag will greet Bart Daleman, and this will be his first time to see the white flag as the race leader in this first round of the season. What can he do to close in? Mark Fletcher was a couple of tenths quicker, and now we'll get a bit more of the slipstream, so we'll be able to get right up behind that rear spoiler of Bart Daleman and see if there's any route through. But coming through these corners, the sweeping S's, the dirty air really does affect the cars, means that you use a lot more of your tires, a lot more of the grip. You don't have that same aero forcing the cars down, hunky down, giving you extra speed through the corners than you would like. So that means Mark Fletcher really needs to make the gains hard onto the brakes into these heavy braking zones. Oh, Greg Parmenter, that rear wing is not supposed to be wobbling around like that. What on earth has got on there?
Try to find out. I think this will provide answers. Oh, I'm afraid it will. That is a massive impact from behind. All the while, Bart Daleman is on his final lap. And he's got a comfortable advantage, relatively comfortable advantage of 0.8 seconds down to Mark Fletcher. He'll have to make a relatively large mistake for Fletcher to be in there with a shot. Freitas is still around as well in third. They're still within a second and a half. The 3 leaders here. On the back straight down towards 130R, so I believe it's gonna be very difficult for much to happen here, and unless something crazy happens into the Casio triangle, it's gonna be a round win checkered flag for Bart Daleman in the 24 car as he exits the triangle. Round the long kink, which in some cars is certainly not a kink indeed, and across the line to grab the checkered flag for round 2A. Ahead of Mark Fletcher, Miguel Freitas. Ryan Micallef takes the win in consistency ahead of Tim Rudden and Wayne Palmer. And then Luis Correa wins in Academy ahead of Jens Husens and Phil Reagan. Up the line, across the line, right about there.
So as well, that was a great drive from Kevin Zemstra to make up 16 places, finish 6th on the road. Great way to come back from the setbacks we saw him suffer in that first race. Ben Hoffman, though, look at this, he's past one car. Is he going to try and find another way through? This time on, well, consistent class rival Philip Russell, hard onto the brakes into the Casio triangle, not able to find a way through. So, whoa, Ben Hoffman, too much power, too much mustard on that coming out of the Casio triangle. Loses not one, but 2 places there as Jakub Szymanski and Greg Parmenter pass him by. So unfortunately, Ben Hoffman, one little mistake late on has cost him a couple of places that he would sorely wish he did not miss out. But still, a great drive, you have to say, for Ben. Still making up 13 places across that race.
Absolutely so. Absolutely so indeed. 2 other high jumpers as well. Chosen's making up 12 places. Now for like 25 to finish 11th overall. And what I believe will be 6th in precision. Is certainly not a bad one either. With that, indeed, Edward May, the results of round 2A.
Yes, so Louis Correa takes the Academy class victory. I think we're doing Academy first and going back up to the Precision class last. So Academy class race victory going the way of Louis Correa. Never mind, that's gone.
It just occurred to me that we were watching the results from Heat 1 still. My apologies, Edward. I thought we had the results ready. Turns out, once again, we're getting teased upon by the results. It always takes a little bit longer than you expect for them to go up. We'll try again once the results are ready to be displayed. I am sure that that Edward is more than ready to. Question is, though, how long we're going to wait for the results to show up. It's always a little bit, isn't it? But anyway, it's been a great few races here already. Mind you, we have the main feature race of the evening still to go. We won't be waiting around for too long, but we will, however, be waiting for a server swap, a lobby swap, if you will. It'll be about 5 to 8 minutes. We'll cue on the music and let you take care of whatever you have to take care of in the meanwhile, and we will be there and ready for round 3A, the 17-lap or 30-minute race for tonight, which, judging from the 2 opening rounds here, Edward, is going to be quite the race indeed.
Yes, it really will, Hassa. I cannot wait. These longer star races usually take a different approach. We're going to see who is going to come out on top. Will it be Bart Daleman, or is Tobias Olsen going to come back from the disappointment of round 2 and have a good fight in this final 30-minute race that we should be able to look forward to very soon, Hassa?
Absolutely. So, still very much like to get the results up on screen. Do so here. Yeah, that'll be Heat 1's results. That's not much worth, is it? We're trying to actually find the results from Heat 2, but for some reason it doesn't want to the screen, which is a bit of a shame. Rather annoying. What it is?
Yeah, not sure what the issue is at the moment, Hassa, but it's a weird one. It's a very, very strange one to see iRacing not letting us run everyone through the finishing results. Hopefully they get this solved soon. Otherwise, we will unfortunately have to move on without.
Indeed, but it would just be a bit of a shame to get hanging as such, and does, however, seem that it's what we'll have to do. So, The best I can do is to take you through it anyways, but I won't be able to show you anything visual. So you know, stay sharp and listen up, for here it comes. Bart Daleman takes the win, and that's in precision as well, of course, ahead of Mark Fletcher, Mikkel Freitas, then Ryan Mikalev, our consistency class winner. Dominika Gioviesa and Kevin Sermstra, 4th and 5th in precision. And then followed by the rest of the consistency podium. That's Tim Rudden and Wayne Palmer. Then Luis Correa, our Academy class winner, ahead of Dries Moody, who's 4th in consistency. Silas Graf Rolag, who's 6th in precision. And then the remainder of the Academy podium, that's Jens Husens, Phil Reagan. Then off the podium is Adam Oshiwala and Craig Schill, quite close there as well. And then a lot of drivers. Oh, but I'll spare you the long read through. But worth mentioning, Tobias Olsen, round 1A winner, not finished round 2A, and that's going to make it all the more interesting as to who's going to pick up maximum points for round 3A indeed. We'll take a quite short break while we join the round 3 lobby. We will be back in a short amount of minutes. Do not go away too far, at least, and be ready for when we go back. We will be back soon indeed. And welcome back, ladies and gents. A bit of an audio issue, but we're there, we're through, and we're live, and we're back for round 3A, the final race of tonight. A short qualifying session, 3 laps for each driver, and of course a lonely one, meaning they'll be having the track all to themselves. And then as opposed to a open 20-minute session, Edward, how different as a driver, how different is that to contend with?
Well, it's very different, isn't it? So you've obviously in these sessions got track all to yourselves. So it's just you and the circuit, and it can go one of two ways. Either drivers can put out their best laps when it's just them by themselves, or maybe throw drivers off a bit. Maybe they're more used to seeing other cars around them. They can maybe use it to their advantage, pick up a bit of slipstream, and without the presence of other cars, they can maybe be prone to make a few mistakes. They get too in their own minds. They don't quite see the circuit the same way, and that's how the mistakes can start to creep in. So we'll see how the drivers manage. James Forsyth just coming out on the circuit now. And another thing to note as well, Hasser, is in these Formula 3s, your first lap is not necessarily going to be your fastest. On a longer track like Suzuka, maybe that isn't the case, but I remember on one of the rounds I took part in at Zandvoort qualifying, it took a long time for the tyres to come in. It was only really by lap 3 where they were at their best, their most optimum for a flying lap. So we can start to see the times get quicker for every driver's second flying lap.
That's a very good point indeed. And I think it also maybe it caters to the strength of different drivers as well. Some drivers might be better at having that hot lap all to themselves, might be a little distracted or feeling the pressure from around when the car's filled up, or the track's filled up with different cars rather. Watching James Forsyth, but I should like to go find one of truly quick gentlemen. Of course, our apologies for having loaded into a new session. Then, of course, is indeed always the case with trading paints that it a bit of white cars. That's all we can see. Mark Fletcher, we are looking at the 11 car. Put up some very good performances and had some good finishes as well early days. Two drivers pushing it as well. One of them being Tobias Olsson. What happened to him here? Mind you, this is not on a timed lap. Oh, he's on the limit. And as you said, Edward, you mentioned the tire temperature and getting that heat into him immediately after having that bit of a wobbly moment. Start swerving all the way down the back straight to really try and build up that heat in the tires.
So Mark Fletcher, Altitude Esports, we'll see him coming through and start a flying lap. Got to get a good run through the Casio Triangle, get that later apex power out nice and easily, make sure the car is nice and stable, which it is. So Mark Fletcher, Altitude Esports, you can see him going very wide. He's spending as much time as possible at full throttle before going across the line and starting his first flying lap of this qualifying session into turn 1, sending it through, straightening out the steering to then brake and trail it in to turn 2. And again, the tyre's not quite up to temperature, I think, for him. There's a little bit of time left on the table there compared to when the tyres are fully heated up and grippy. Just look at this, though. It's such a wonderful flowing section of the circuit. Right, left, right, left, and then going up the hill again, and then into the 2 Degnas 1 and 2. Carry the speed into Degna 1, be as brave as you can be, sending it in, and then slowing it down for the second, using the curb, the camber to your advantage, powering out, and then coming up towards the Dunlop hairpin. Tricky because you have to turn right before getting onto the brakes suddenly and going left. Some drivers opt to go for an earlier apex, veering off the corner. Mark Fletcher opting for that later apex. Powers out nicely then through 200R into Spoon Curve, one of the most iconic sections of this already iconic Suzuka track. Picking your braking point nicely, turning it in, getting onto the curb, getting towards the exit, and then finding the late apex if you can. Then again, early on the power if the car is willing to do so. And then the long run towards 130R flat out when you've not got any cars in front of you and your tyres are up to temperature. You can see the speed he's taking through nearly 240 kilometers an hour. And then you have to slow all the way down through the gears into second for the Casio triangle. Nice and deft, right foot needed. Then hug the inside line, shortest run possible up towards the line. What will it be for Mark Fletcher and Altitude Esports? Will this be a time to challenge the top spot? No, it won't. So only 5th fastest for Fletcher, but again, tyres not quite up to their best. It'll be a little while yet before Mark Fletcher will set that faster time. At the moment, though, Tobias Olsen is top of the pack here. And also, Dominicos Jovasia, the driver we've seen coming through the field in races 1 and 2, but for race 3, he's finally showing that pace that we knew he was displaying in the race. Currently 2nd fastest.
Yeah, impressive indeed. Looking very good, the Latvian. And he's going to be trying to push, but it's a big half a second at the moment in the green for Tobias Olsen. That is very, very impressive, given just how close these cars are. Mind you, it's a fixed setup. Half a second isn't something you just go out there and find easily.
It's not the easiest thing to do. It's better said than done, isn't it, Hasi? Which is why when I'm talking through, it sounds easy, but when you're actually in the car, it's a lot harder. The time's getting faster now. Olsen into the 1 minute 52, so 52.932. Oh, is Kevin Byrne very close as well. To also only a couple of tenths shy. James Forsyth now 2nd fastest. Bart Daleman getting quicker as well. Time is definitely coming down now as the tyres get up to temperature, but now the 3rd lap is when these tyres should be at their absolute best. The temperature's up. They're nice and grippy. What can all of these drivers manage now when it's their final effort? No room for error. An incident point, running a bit wide, getting an off track will absolutely wreck your hopes and dreams of qualifying on pole position.
It is a limited window of operation here. I think that is the chance gone for Kevin Poon. I am afraid. You are the drivers finding that's the finding it out the hard way as well. Chris Moody is leading consistency, 9th overall, ahead of Wayne Palmer. At the moment, it's Jens Husens at the head of Academy, head of Stefan Grabowski and Daniel Guiducci. Let's see if that stands to the end of things. Here is James Forsyth through Spoon, Edward.
Yeah, so James Forsyth, currently 2nd fastest driver on track. What can he do to become the fastest on track in this qualifying session here? It'll have to be a lot, because I have seen Tobias Olsen has been setting purple sector times currently in his efforts. Goes fastest with a 1 minute 52.6. Focus shifts to Forsyth and he gets a mistake. He gets too heavy on the throttle. I think he realized that there was a mistake coming and he just decided to power on through. You can see here the frustration setting in just a bit too much over there. And then as soon as he loses the car, he realizes he can't save it. Powers on through. That is just pure unadulterated frustration creeping through for James Forsyth. And he goes from 2nd fastest all the way down to 4th as Miguel Freitas and Bart Daleman. And now Silas Kragvolik go even quicker. Tobias Olsen, his time is still staying strong though, up at the top. And I think he has been able to hold on. The drivers only have 3 flying laps to complete. I think all of the drivers have pretty much done exactly 3 flying laps. So, as it stands, barring any late charges, Tobias Olsen will be on pole position with the Alcantech NHR by SimLab teammate alongside him. The number 28, Silas Kragvorik. Very good effort from him. Although Mark Van Dalen, he's on a flying lap, goes 19th fastest in year 1, number 33.
So is Ben Hoffman as well. He goes across the line. 3rd in consistency as well. and pushes down Hans Pullmans. And I think there are still a few more drivers out there. Here's Craig Schill. He's just crossed the line. No improvement for him on his final lap. And then a driver that we've seen a lot of in the first 2 opening rounds. Ryan Michael F.
And he's not going to be able to improve. So there might have been an off track around there somewhere. Frustration for the Team Year One racing driver that looked so quick, didn't he? At the start of the evening, in that first run where he was able to put it on the front row of the grid alongside Tobias Olsen. But it has just not gone his way in this second and final qualifying session of the evening. So Ryan Michael will be starting all the way down in 37th. Not what he was hoping for. That is for certain. But Hasse, we've come to the end of qualifying, and now we have the grid order for round 3A of the Sim Stickers Formula 3 series.
Yes, indeed we have. And it's just as big as it was for 1 and 2A, and it's a long one to go through. It's Tobias Olsen yet again on pole position ahead of Silas Kraft-Frolik, Miguel Freitas and Bart Daleman on row 2. Row 3 is going to be Mark Fletcher and Rice Saunders, with James Forstijk and Kevin Semstra on row 4. Row 5, Kevin Poon and Tim Rudden, with Philip Russell and Ben Huffman there on row 6. 10th, 11th, and 12th, of course, the leading drivers in consistency. Rolling down the grid, it's Dominika Joviasa, in 13th, ahead of Dries Moody, then Hans Pullmans and Wayne Palmer, Nick Skurmans and Luis Correa, then Joel Erlenbroek and Mark van Dalen there in 20th. Dennis Rieringa, 21st, ahead of Matthijs Groen, then Jens Hoesens and Martin Dekkens in 24th position. 25th is Steven de Wolf, ahead of Jurgen van der Perre, Paul Smith in 27th, ahead of Stefan Grabowski. Daniele Giudici, with the hand gestures included. Paul got in 30th place ahead of Adam Oshiwala and Greg Parmenter, Robert Odoms, Phil Reagan, Craig Schill, and Thijs van den Berge at the heavy end of it.
Yep, and then a couple more as well. Ryan Michael F. and Jakub Szymanski at the back as well, 37th and 38th. The cars lining up on the grid, and it's a front row start yet again for Tobias Olsen. But will this third race go better than the second, Hasse? They're about to get underway.
They are indeed, as the lights are coming on. We're just about to go green here for round 3A, and there it is, an early green flag. And we're go, and they're screaming down towards turn 1. And it's Olsen, Freitas, and Frolik side by side. It's a bit of a squeeze on the outside. I think that's going to be Freitas up into second place. It is indeed.
No, it's not Freitas, sorry. Drops back behind Craig Frolik. He had a good start, but wasn't able to take advantage of that into the first couple of corners, forced outside by Silas Craig Frolik. And now look at the cars. Hopefully we won't see any contact through the S's house. So we saw it happen the race before, but I think they've learnt their lesson. They come through without any major dramas.
So it would indeed seem, and so we would hope here on board. We are with Tobias Olsen into the Deckness for the first time here. 35 minutes we've got on the clock. We've got 17 laps of racing to do. That should line up nicely indeed. Olsen with a healthy advantage of 0.8 of a second here already on the opening lap. And as such, he's really pressing his advantage, and I'm afraid we have had the first incident of the race, and it's Jens Hoesens. Paul Gotten, I think, is a part of this one as well. Hoesens goes off in Deckner 1, but manages to come around on the outside, the rallycross route, if you will, but manages also to rejoin safely without any sort of further issues. And then we've had this one for Joel Erlenbroek as well, who just gets a little too heavy on the throttle, but manages to keep it out of the wall as well. Finds the escape road to rejoin, and does so smoothly. Oh, we've had a problem for Bart Daleman as well, I'm afraid. That is rather big news. So what's happened to Bart? Oh, he had to shoot through the escape road at the Casio Triangle.
There's a heavy slowdown as well, so he's going to lose so many places here in serving that into turn 1. And he's all the way down now into 8th position. So not what the Sim Racers World Esports driver was hoping for at this early stage, but there's plenty of time still to go in this race room to try and make a charge back up through and try and take something back out from this race. Right up behind now, Tim Rutten, Team Year 1 Racing, try for the consistency class driver, doing a very good job, isn't he? Up into 7th place. And I wouldn't be surprised if we'll be seeing most likely Tim Rutten and his teammate Ryan Michaelef challenging for the consistency class just based on their early performances so far in this first evenings of racing.
Very much so. We also had an incident before here for Robert Bottoms, who's he's too quickly. Oh, and someone's got around there, and I think that's Greg Parmenter as well. Nope. Oh, he's got on an even wider route there on the outside. Wow. Just about managing to grip up. Also, it's Szymanski who had the problem there before, and then Daleman had the issue. But up ahead, Tobias Olsen is in a very good position ahead of teammate Silas Frolik, and then it's Mark Fletcher and Bryce Saunders, and in behind there is a battle between James Forsyth and Miguel Freitas as well. Forsyth in the 52 car, I think gets ahead. Let's have another look at that one, Edward.
Yeah, let's see, James Forsyth into the chicane. Just see how this all unfolded. Oof, it's just over the curb a little bit. Keeps it going though. That was a great pass, wasn't it? So close to contact, but was able to get through Miguel Freitas onto the curb to avoid contact. Very good, smart driving from him as well. You have to say he played a good part in making sure there was no contact.
Yeah, indeed. And we've seen a much cleaner start here to final race of the evening, which is of course a grand pleasure. That's nice to see. Daleman's making up positions again. He's on a charge. He's now on the tail of Miguel Freitas. A lot of drivers getting wide on the exit of the second Deckner. That's taking quite a bit of risk. It's where Tobias Olsen had his crash in round 2A, where he just a little bit too much of the gravel that kind of sucked him off wide, and then into the wall he went, and quite heavily indeed as well. So lessons to be learned there. But of course, drivers trying to extract every 100th of a second, every 1,000th that they can. And as such, they try to use every single bit of track available to them. That does come with its own set of risks sometimes here on board. We are with Jovaisa, Dominikas Jovaisa, the Latvian driver who's trying to squeeze in his nose. And he is squeezing it into the Casio triangle. Ahead he goes. A very, very nice overtake made there on Kevin Poon.
Yeah, Kevin Poon just got bested, I think, by Dominikas Jovaisa. We're going to see this here through 130i. Gets the run, gets the car stopped nicely onto the brakes into the Casio triangle. Now he can set his sights on, trying to carve his way back up through the order even further as we follow Bart Daleman and his charge up through the field, back up into P6. And trying to find a way through. This was Daniele Giudici. Has to talk us through what was happening here.
Yeah, move on the outside. Or is it? Nope. Did it look like it for a second? Actually wanted to find Bart Daleman's overtake on Miguel Freitas. That's into the Casio triangle as well. For all it seems there, Bart gets a good run on the inside out, braking maneuver. And hard braking doesn't have to become heartbreaking, does it? Bart Daleman shows just how it's done in that situation.
Yeah, Bart Daleman, Sim Racersworld Esports. Closing in now on James Forsyth up ahead. So look at this, 3 wide into turn 1.
Oh, that was never going to end well, was it?
Smith. It was never for the car on the outside. There was always sadly going to be contact there. Rear wing gone from the back of Paul Smith's team. Mad Dallara Formula 3 car. And that will need to take a trip to the pits, see if that can get repaired, and get back out in time for the end of the race, and see if he can still score some form of meaningful points in this evening. As too wide through 130R. Philip Russell for Fordzilla playing with fire there as he's got to go past Hans Pullmans, but can't manage it this time around. As again, quick times being set by Olsen, but matched by Fletcher there. So it's not over yet for the lead of the race, as Phil Reagan in the XZ Racing Neon car having a big moment.
And he's just going straight, I'm afraid, there through the Casio triangle. And had something to do with the battling coming into it there. Doesn't even grab the escape road. Gonna pick up the shortcut penalty. All well. Euphrates, Uvesa, and Kevin Poon still close to one another. It's Kim Rudden's the driver ahead of them. Still leading consistency ahead of Ben Hoffman and Dries Moody. Tobias Olsen leading Mark Fletcher and his teammate Silas Kraftfuller. They've had a bit of a switch for positions, it seems, here, because Fletcher for Altitude Esports is up into second place here.
Yeah, and it's been a good drive so far from Fletcher. He's been performing very well up at the sharp end of the field, battling with the likes of Bart Daleman, Miguel Freitas in race number 2. But look at that, he just... Whoa, that was scary stuff.
That was a big moment indeed. That could have been the end of proceedings for Silas Kraftfuller, but it didn't, and it wasn't. And Bart Daleman's on the inside here on James Forsythe, and I'm not sure he's going to make that stick all the way through. They're absolutely side by side into the triangle with a lot of speed. Oh, and he makes a stick around the outside there. Bart Daleman, what a move. Brilliant, brilliant job by the 24 car and Bart Daleman to bring that one through on the outside. That was impressive, to say the least. Just gonna slow it down for a second, just see how much speed he's carrying around there on the outside. Of course, James Forsythe doing a very good job of staying tucked in on the inside and not make it difficult. But James Forsythe is back on through as well. So what's happened here? Well, we've been watching replays of a brilliant move. James Forsythe sent it right back, and it's an Bart Daleman who picks up the grass. Forsythe there on the outside. A bit of a squirrely move. Bit of maybe even just being not quite sure what the other one was going to do in the situation. They managed it, only just. And James Forsythe reclaims 5th place in precision. That's 5th place overall, of course, as well. Precision still being led by Tobias Olsen, Mark Fletcher 2nd. Now Furlike in 3rd position ahead of Bryce Saunders, James Forsythe, and Bart Daleman. Top 6, then comes the consistency leader, Tim Rudden. Got a healthy gap on Ben Hoffman, who's 2nd in consistency. Moody 3rd, Hans Pullmans in 4th, and Philip Russell 5th. And Luis Correa still leading Academy ahead of Dennis Virenga and Matthijs Kroon. And this is gonna be a serious right down my alleyway here. I can feel it already here through the first opening races with action happening so quickly we can hardly keep up with it all. And of course, we'll be doing our best to cover everything, but we can only focus our cameras in one place at a time here. Bart Daleman is getting very, very close to James Forsythe. Yet again, it's gonna be a repeat of what we saw last time around, but though the other way around, here's Bart Daleman, tries to send it around the outside in turn 1, but doesn't quite manage to. Forsythe keeps in. Daleman gets the better exit, but he gets slightly blocked there. Of course, Forsythe is allowed to go and take the racing line, that situation well ahead. So, no sort of rule infringements here, just close and well, nice to see racing this level of aggression, but also still with the respect for one another.
Yeah, and we're going to be seeing just, I think, racing like that all evening long. Drivers being able to defend that inside line into the first corner also helps them through turn 2 is that it's so difficult for the likes of Bart Damon to try and pass James Forsythe when that inside line has been covered so well, so expertly. Then look at this huge train of Formula 3 cars. Wayne Palmer in the Sim Stickers 177 car trying to get ahead of Nick Sherwood's, but I think his main fight is going to be between himself and Philip Russell in that Fordzilla car because they are in the same class. They're in the consistency class together. As look at Mark van Dalen, Team Year 1, the Dutchman in the 33, looking for a way past. They're going to be side by side on the exit, but the better run is from Hans Poldmans. Is that potentially going to open the door now for Team Fordzilla car, Philip Russell, to get a good run through 130. They are side by side. Up ahead, though, into aforementioned corner, the sweeping left-hander. They will fight side by side, two abreast. Noah's arcing their way through the Casio triangle, and it is the 33 that's able to go through. And there's a big moment there. Philip Russell seemingly losing control or getting a slight tap through the Casio triangle. The car pendulums around and round it goes, and unfortunately that was not the way but it was hoping that would go. Oof. Thankfully, the cars didn't end up on top of each other like a certain Italian motorsport venue over the weekend. But that was a very familiar incident, shall we say, if you follow Formula 1.
Yeah, indeed. Good point. Poolmans and Van Dalen now ever so slightly dislodged from the traffic up ahead. This is Miguel Freitas, who's wedged in, you could say, in a battle between Tim Rudden and Ben Hoffman, who's been coming back on the consistency leader as well. We're on lap 8 of the 17, so just about halfway through the race. Oh, what's happened here for Mathias Groen, who picks up the grass, coming into Degner 2, goes around, that is going to be heavy into the wall, and it is indeed. The nose is gone on his car as it reappeared, and he goes into the pits. I'm afraid that is going to be race over for Mathias Groen. All the while up ahead, it's still Tobias Olsen by almost 3 seconds now, down to Mark Fletcher, who's being kept busy and honest by Silas Karfulek, the 28 car of Alcantech NHR by SimLab.
So, Silas Karfulek, 28 Alcantech NHR by SimLab car.
Oh!
What on earth has happened there? Tim, they're all going into the pits.
I wonder if
I believe that's because the fuel won't last them until the end, so I think they have to take a trip into the pits, get some fuel on board, and to make their way till the end, which is another aspect to consider in these longer races at the end of the evening. Is when do you take your pit stop? When do you go and try and maybe upset the rhythm? Maybe try and find a way past all of those around you. That's the real question, and some drivers might opt to take it a little bit earlier, get themselves out of traffic. Other ones might try and pit later for that exact same reason, spend as much time as they can if they're towards the front of the field, building the margin to the rest. So things to consider, Hasser, about how they approach this evening. If maybe they're stuck behind a car that they can't quite overtake but feel they're faster than, it might make sense to do a slightly earlier pit stop.
Indeed, there will be a time when the window opens and when it really makes sense to come in. The most important thing is that you try to make sure you don't get out in traffic, because one thing is coming in because you're behind someone you feel you're faster than, but if you come out behind someone else that you really feel you're faster than, you're going to be hit by an even harder whammy. It's always difficult art to master, the timing of pit stops. Back here we are with the battle for overall second place. Oh, that is a big jump over the curbs there for Mark Fletcher. I think he got away with it. As Tobias Olsen pits in, Fletcher pits in as well, and Frolik comes around for another lap in the 28 machine. He's gonna inherit the lead, but only for a limited amount of time. Saunders and Bart Daleman, Miguel Freitas also comes through. Dries Moody has now overtaken Ben Hoffman as well, but Hoffman's gonna come back on him, I think, here. Let's see. Moody's defending the outside. Hoffman's hit on the brakes, all the track, and not really gaining anything from it so far. Here's Robert Odoms and Jacob Szymanski. Szymanski in the 295 machine, doing well for himself. And then Kevin Poon and Tim Rudden with a bit of an infight as well here down towards turn 1. It's Poon on the outside, it's Rudden on the inside, and then it's Rudden who keeps the position for now to necessarily be fighting too hard, as they are in two different classes of driver, and as such it'll be two different standings, two different results in the end. Moody now ahead of Hoffman, and then Philip Russell in the Ford Silla car, but I imagine it's because they have yet to take their pit stops. That indeed does seem to be the case here, Edward.
Yes, it does. So, Dries Moody and Hoffman, you can see racing together. Bart Daleman going 2 by 2 with Silas Craig Vorlik. Craig Vorlik very close behind, trying to find a way through, but can't muster the chance through 130R. As to settle up for third still from Bart Daleman. As Reece Saunders in this team, year 1 car is having a very good job at keeping in front for now, but all drivers now coming into the pits. Saunders from Daleman, from Craig Frolic, from Freitas, from Moody, from Hoffman, all opting to make their pit stops as we see the replay of Reece Saunders, and that was him getting through on a car that was spinning, and I'm not sure who that was. So that was Craig Frolic, and that was how Daleman was able just to get in front.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna... Oh, there it is. Just a touch too much of the AstroTurf. Manages to keep it pointing in the right direction. We didn't get a shot of the off-track, but I could just see that he'd lost several positions. Wanted to make sure just what had happened in there. Daleman, oh, he's not gonna be the one to bail, man. He's gonna stay in there on the inside. Oh, rolling on the outside. Just about staying ahead. Or is he? Oh, it's the other way around, because it's James Forsythe behind. Oh, and Daleman's been touched, and he's gone around, and he's in the wall, and it's James Forsythe, I'm afraid, who just stuck his nose in maybe a little too hard. Maybe it's the other way around, and Daleman came across on him. I'm not quite sure. We'll have to, if we can produce images of what just happened there. A rather unlucky incident, I'm afraid, for Bart Daleman. There it is. Oh, Dunlop. Usually, I would say, Edward, knowing this track, it's usually not really the place to try and put your nose in there. I'm not sure Bart Daleman was really expecting that one.
No, I don't think so. It's one of those corners where it's so hard to pass cleanly through there. There's plenty of other opportunities to try and make a move. Oh my word!
Oh, and another
huge moment. Several cars picking up damage there. Who was that was going back onto the circuit, though? Was that Daniele Giudici? It was. So the Sim Stickers racing car already loose through the first Degner. Going through the second, carries too much speed and very reminiscent of that second race incident. But this time he gets a touch onto the gravel, spins it around across the racing circuit, has contact with the 25, a little bit of a tag with the 171, but I think he gets away with it. But then, oof, big impact with, I think that was the 269, was it, of Jens Goossens, I think, who suffered the brunt of that contact.
Yeah, I believe so. Now look at this, Dries Moody with company from Tim Rudden. Tim Rudden very, very close on behind. He's going to come with the assault down into turn 1 and cleanly past the Dutchman in the 139 car and retaking the lead in the consistency class. Of course, it's still Olsen leading in precision. I thought we were just going to have a retaliatory strike there from Dries Moody. That was not going to happen. At least not this time around. The S's as well. We've seen them go too wide up through here, but that's very, very risky in my mind. And certainly something that'll lose you a lot of time on the cars ahead. Nice little four-way scrap here. Kevin Poon is in the 30 car, who's on the, well, side by side with the 174. Got a poor exit there from Deckner 2. And I think he's gonna go the long way around here in the hairpin. He's gonna get a much better exit and drive away through 200R. And it's been a problem here, I'm afraid, Edward, for Ryan Michaelev. Oh, and he needs to hold his brakes. Car comes back on him. Oh, yeah, okay. It's a tough situation to be in because he doesn't want to lock him up as well. He manages to get it stopped. Paul Smith, I'm afraid, has had a problem of some sorts as well. There's still fighting going on here. Moody and Hoffman this time around, and Moody sneaks it on through in the Casio triangle. That was narrow margins, Edward May, to a degree that I've rarely seen before.
Yeah, this is brilliant stuff. Look at all of these cars fighting together into turn one. You can see Dries Moody is trying to defend, or trying to come through rather. Tim Rutten staying up ahead. Well, this is going to be close, isn't it? Lap 13 on the circuit now out of 17. The drivers have a little while yet in this race to try and make up a final few lap positions, and it's a good run by Martin Deckens for Dynamics Racing Silver to try and find a way past Nick Shermans, but can't do it at the moment. He gets a good run though all the way through the sweeping left-hander, but can't get the space into Deckner 1 and 2. You can't send a move down there. It's just not worth it. Far too risky. Instead, we'll come to this battle. Jens Goosens and Jürgen van der Peer coming through the Casio triangle. Jürgen van der Peer not close enough to really make a move because Jens Goosens had such a good run coming out of that final chicane.
Indeed. And so we're back to this four-way scrap. Oh, Ben Hoffman with a very good run. And it seems to me the car at the 174 got in a little too quickly there. Hoffman's trying to get his nose in everywhere he can. Very aggressive on Dries Moody there. Meanwhile, Kevin Poon has gotten past on Tim Rutten. So effectively, mind you, this is the battle for the lead in the consistency class. With Tim Rutten in the 139 leading ahead of Dries Moody, and just how long will that be? Because Moody's been touched by Ben Hoffman in the rear end, and he's gone off, entering the Casio triangle. We're into the final few laps of the race as well, Edward, but that was race changing, I'm afraid. Poor Dries Moody was still spinning.
Oh, that was huge. And is there I think that's a lot of damage. I think that's suspension damage, and like you say, race ending for Dries Moody. This was the pair of them fighting together, coming out of 130R and into the Casio triangle. Dries Moody, was that maybe him coming across the nose?
Yeah, I think
sure.
so. I think it was. Let's have another look.
We'll be on board from the car behind and see.
Yeah, he's coming across, I'm afraid. He might not know that he's on the inside as such.
Plus the circuit naturally does bend to the right because he keeps his car straight. That's naturally going to keep squeezing that car down on the inside. Those are fast repairs. The drivers are able to go into the pits and repair damage and still go out in these longer style races. But that was definitely not the way we wanted that fight to end. We want to see that go right down, have a nice clean pass at the end. And that's another thing as well, Hassel, to note, is that this is the first 3 rounds of the season. The drivers just coming together. Actually, it doesn't look like there was any contact at all, was there? Maybe a bit of, again, the dirty word, a bit of netcode.
Yeah, it could very well have been here. We've had another issue here, Ryan Michaelev. Oh, that is massive as well. Ben Hoffman has been involved in something, and I wonder what that is all about here. That's in the exit of turn 3. And it's one of the year 1 cars. Just managing to sneak by. This is going to cost Ben Hoffman a lot of time as well. He's jumped to the pits. Martin Deckens just ahead of Nick Schuurmans. Not too far back from Luis Correa. Ahead, Tobias Olsson. Still leading though, but by just over a second. So Mark Fletcher doing a very good job here. They've got a fair advantage down to Rice Saunders in 4th place at the moment. Graf Frolik, then James Forsyth, Miguel Freitas, Dominicus Juvaisa, Kevin Cole in 8th at the moment in position. We had that lead battle, but that's sort of spread out here, and Tim Rutten seems he's going to have an easier few laps than maybe predicted.
Yeah, he certainly might do. No one really behind him. Not too many in front either. This could be a lonely final few laps for, like you say, Tim Rutten up in 9th place, but leading the consistency class. I'm sure he won't be too upset with that come the end of the race as we follow Louis Correa, and there was a little puff of smoke there, maybe a lockup from Van Dalen just up ahead coming into Dunlop hairpin. But then this man up in front. What an evening, what a race it has been from the speed. Obviously, that second race where he was classified as a non-finisher would have been a setback, but he's bounced back brilliantly, hasn't he? Just 2 more laps to go here at Suzuka. Well, the storm between himself and Craig Fletcher, but his lap times have been consistently quick, always in the mid 152s, hasn't looked prone to making any more mistakes. And touch wood, this should be his 2nd race victory of the night.
Indeed. A pass there for Martin Deckens on Luis Correa, but what happened there for Deckens?
Luis Correa, brilliant
Correa
stuff.
came flying through. I think Deckens, yeah, big slide for Martin Deckens, which sort of explains how you could have that sort of overspeed coming from so far back. Deckens really pushing. Got Nick Schuurmans on his back. Here is Kevin Semstra with Stephen Grabowski ahead of him. Semstra's gonna go for it on the inside. He's telegraphed this move from a long way back. Didn't have the overspeed, and as such, wasn't really able to do anything about it. I'm afraid, Edward, we've had quite an issue for Thijs van den Bergen. Let's see what happened for the Dynamics Racing Duvel driver and the 215 machine. Oh, gets loose as he picks up a bit of grass. And that's suspension gone, I'm afraid, on the right-hand side. And that's going to be race over for Thijs van den Bergen.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate there. It's just so easy, though, isn't it, to make a mistake, to have incidents like that on a circuit where it takes so much out of you, doesn't it? This track is demanding a lot from the drivers, but some might be grateful to know that there is only 1 more lap still to go, as across the line to take the white flag is Tobias Olsson. Rather than take NHR by SimLab. Mark Fletcher, 2nd place. Good drive from him up 3 places. Gaining the altitude. Esports number 11. Reece Saunders as well for Team Year 1. He'll be very happy with a podium, I am sure. Oh, Mark Fletcher. You can see how much he's pushing, isn't he? Just using every bit of circuit and a little bit more to close in to try and find a way through on Tobias Olsson, but I think it's just going to be a little bit too much too late. Look at that. You could just hear the rear end braking traction. He had to do a minor overcorrection. He's really, really wringing the neck of this car, but he doesn't want to risk too much now. If he was just to back off a little bit, he could just consolidate this 2nd place. If there was a mistake to lose out on the podium, that would be absolutely heartbreaking for Mark Fletcher. So I think we're going to see him backing off a little bit and maybe coasting in for another great podium finish behind man up in front, Tobias Olsson, who is not really, aside from that mistaken race 2, put a foot wrong all evening. He's going to take 2 race victories already this season and is looking a very strong candidate for the championship.
Yeah, indeed. We'll have to see once the circus travels on. It might be a strong track for him here at Suzuka, but it's certainly been a strong showing. He has indeed only really made 1 mistake, but that mistake cost him dearly. Midway through round 2A. seconds on Korea, but that's not really for in-class positions. That's the leader, of course, of Academy. The current second-place driver in consistency, so Luis Correa certainly doing very good as well. Here's Tobias Olsen, though, picking up the checkered flag for round 3A. Making it 2 or 3 here ahead of Mark Fletcher, who's been there or thereabouts every single time as well. And Rice Sanders gets the last stand podium place. Karl Florak in 4th ahead of James Forstyke, Miguel Freitas, Dominicas Jovaiskas. I'm sorry. I usually don't have that much trouble with name, but Jovaisha, I don't know why it's so hard. Let's do some bit of drivers practice driving, Edward. Sometimes we gotta practice names, though.
Yeah, sometimes we're not the best at names, but if any drivers are hearing that we are pronouncing your name incorrectly, just let us know and we'll be trying our best. Look at this though, Kevin Zemstra trying to find a way past. It's going to be a race up to the line, and Wayne Palmer just able to hold on to 19th place. Not been the best of evenings for Kevin Zemstra. We know he has good pace though, so we'll expect him to bounce back after this and come through for a good finish. Hans Polman's there, 125 for Flemish Sim Sports, coming home in 23rd place. Bruce Moody, 26th for him, just behind Robert Odams that we just saw across the lineup up in front. Still, this has been a very entertaining evening's worth of racing. Just waiting for the final few drivers to come across the line before I'll let you do the honours of running through the finishing order of round 3A, because these longer style races do provide something different and give us a very entertaining race to talk through, don't they? It's nice, I think, to see how the drivers approach different races throughout the evening.
Absolutely so. It's been a great show indeed, and action thick, fast, and all around, and we've been kept busy as well. I feel like we've been flying around. It's been incredible, and those races also passed through so quickly because of the amount of action going on all around you. It's something that I do really think. We've had some very good racing here tonight. I think it's been a great season opener indeed. With that said, waiting to be able to bring you the results on screen. There might be a few drivers still doing donuts out there. Isn't quite the case. That said, it is indeed time to go through our results, and I'll do it class by class, since that indeed, in terms of points, does make the most sense. This time around, it's precision first. It's Tobias Olsen, overall winner, and winner in precision, of course, as well for Alcantech NHR by SimLab. Ahead of Mark Fletcher, Rice Saunders, Silas Krafrolag, and James Forstyke. That's rounding off the top 5. Miguel Freitas in 5th. Dominicas Jovaisa in 7th place. 5th, 6th, did I mean? Kevin Poons 8th. Mark van Dalen in 9th place. Nick Schuurmans in 10th. Kevin Zemstra in 11th. And Bart Daleman in 12th place. In consistency, good race as well, with Tim Rudden taking the win by 7.7 seconds ahead of Martin Deckens. Philip Russell 3rd for Ford Silla, ahead of Joel Ernbrook. Wayne Palmer, Hans Pullman, Dries Moody. Ben Huffman and Ryan Maglev, who had their issues late in the race indeed. Paul Smith and Stephen DeWolf rounding off last. And last, but of course not least, Academy, with Luis Correa winning by a solid 12.2 seconds over Dennis Virenga. Got Paul Godden 3rd ahead of Stephen Grabowski. We've got Phil Reagan 5th ahead of Jacob Szymanski, Robert Adams, and Adam Ashiwala. Jürgen van der Per, Greg Parmenter, and Daniele Giudici in 11th. And Thijs van den Bergen, Craig Schill, Jens Husen, and Matthijs Boon. And indeed, cursed Polish Hans Polmans. Again, apologize for a few hiccups there in terms of the nationalities tonight. There's been some kind of mistake with our input system that's switched a lot of the nationalities around, and it's been too much to be able to deal with while we were actually doing all these things live and such. Of course. Hands on the heart, we'll have it fixed for next time around. And with that said, Edward, looking in, it seems like we have a fair few drivers waiting and wanting to do interviews.
Yes, they do. I have to say, we will definitely oblige them, won't we? We always love to have a chat to the drivers after what has been a very entertaining evening's worth of racing. But you know what, Hassa? I will let you do the honors of speaking to race 1 and 3 Victor Tobias Olsen, who I think we can bring into the race now. And Tobias Olsen joins us for a word with Hassa Roma.
Hello, Tobias. Welcome to the booth, and thank you for taking the time to join us for this post-race interview. Aside from a small but deadly mistake in race 2 that was close to perfect from you, just how gutted are you that it wasn't 3 out of 3?
It was a bit harsh there when I went into the wall in the second race. I just pushed a bit too much, I think, on the cold tires there. It was a pretty hard hit, so couldn't really continue. But I feel really good with taking pole position for race 1, and winning race 1 was really nice, despite the pressure from behind. And race 3 was, also pole, really nice. Then straight forward until the pit stops, and after the pit stops I got the tires felt a bit weird, so it was quite loose in the back for some reason, but I managed to hold on. I made some mistakes into the final chicane a few times, but I managed to keep it together and go and win that one, so it was nice.
And with the points haul for this opening week of racing, you're looking good already, looking very, very competitive indeed, and thinking of the calendar there is to come, how do you rate your own chances championship-wise?
I will for sure give it a go, if I can hold myself together and not crash, which is kind of I do crash a lot sometimes, so I will try to just take it a bit easy and see if I can just be stable and take a lot of points every round, so maybe I have a chance for the championship.
Nice. Tobias, thank you for taking the time to hop in. Congratulations on 2 solid race wins in what could have been 3. That little bit of poor luck mixed into it. Before we let you go and celebrate, is there anyone you'd like to give a thanks or a shout out to while you're live on the app?
Thanks to my team, Alkan Tech and Wire, and my teammate Johan Lindberg for doing the spotting for me tonight. So, thanks to you guys as well.
Other stuff, Tobias. Thanks for joining us, as said, and I hope we'll get to see more of you in the booth over the coming week.
Bye.
So that was Tobias Olsen coming in, and we'll go on, Edward May, with, I was about to say, a driver of your choice. I was about to say, but I guess it's going to be Mark Fletcher.
Yes, so into the comments box comes Mark Fletcher. Should be able to hopefully hear us, and we can have a word with the driver who came second place in that third race. And Mark, this has been a good opening round of the a few rounds of this new season. What was your hopes and expectations coming into this, and well, they met?
It's nice to be in a different car. Obviously, we've known each other for a while, Ed. I'm a GT driver by trade, we'll call it. Difficult jumping over to the F3s, but I debuted a couple of seasons back at Brands Hatch, did all right there, and decided that this year we're going to go for it.
Yeah, I remember racing with you against you on a couple of occasions, Mark, and I know you're a quick fellow in GT machine. You got to see that you're also pretty handy in an F3, and like you say, you've made the transition. Do you think there's a little bit more to be found in terms of getting a few more practice laps in, maybe able to challenge and take a few race victories as the season goes on?
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to struggle to beat the guys at the front. You know, from free practice, we were, up near the front, but it was so close. It was all about who could get the quickest lap. Bart's going to be somewhere near all the time. and it's nice to see some new teams up there as well. So, but yeah, we'll give it our best shot. You know, a third and 2 seconds is probably a really nice way to start the season. Yeah, we'll hopefully bring some wins in this year.
Yeah, I think on the balance of it, that probably means that you come out of this as the championship leader. So going into the following rounds, do you think maybe from this at least first stage, because of course the championship is split in half, you can maybe come out on top above the rest?
I'm certainly going to go for it. I mean, yeah, you know, you can't take everything. We hope so, but yeah, it's the first round, but we'll play the long game. But yeah, Bart was unlucky. Tobias absolutely flying. Just couldn't get close enough. But no, it's a great series. Racing looked pretty clean from where I was. And yeah, it's gonna go down to the wire. I can feel.
Yeah, it definitely will be, I believe. I'm trying to think when the next round is held. I've been trying to find the calendar and I've completely misplaced it. So hopefully you have more information on that. And is it a track that you think you'll be good at?
I can't remember where it is. I think it's.
So
in fact, no. I can't remember
Montreal,
where it is.
Montreal we go to in a little
I'll say it now. I don't like it. It's straights and hairpins and chicanes. Not my kind of track. Take me to Brands Hatch every day. But yeah, hopefully we'll come out swinging there again. Yeah, just get into the finals. That's the game at the minute.
Definitely. Well, thank you very much, Rob. We've got a lot of drivers to get through, so we're having to keep these interviews as short as possible. We'd love to have more of a chat with you, Mark, but anyway, we'll have to bid you goodbye and wish you all the very best. But before we do, is there anybody you'd like to shout out here on Simracersworld TV?
Yeah, obviously Bart for letting us into the series this year. It's going to be a good one. All our guys at Altitude, Tom for spotting for me this evening, which was a massive help coming into the pits. And then just the sponsors, which are Acertech Sim Sports, Freem, Sim Stickers, and Sim Racing Studio. And obviously, thank you guys for broadcasting it as per normal.
Well, indeed, thanks as well to Mark Fletcher for joining us in the booth for a quick post-race talk. We'll hop on to our third place finisher in the position class, Rhys Saunders, Team Year 1. Thanks for taking the time to have a quick chat with us here and scrapping in a podium place in the last race. Seems a very competitive series as an outside viewer. How does it feel from the inside?
Just saying, you got the wrong guy. I'm Tim, not Rhys.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem about that. But
nice. Oh God. Well, it's all just coming along. Anyways, we'll take a quick chat with you, Tim. Of course, the winner of the consistency class. So all of a sudden, also a very worthwhile talk to have. Thank you as well for taking the time to talk. And it seemed I could ask you the same question because it seems very much the same thing happening as well in consistency. It's tightly contested and a competitive field indeed.
I mean, Simracersworld F3 series has always really been competitive, so I'm really happy that this season kicked off really well for me with the amount of podium plays I got in the consistency class, and it is still a really tight field. So everybody was probably sweating to keep it alive, keep it on the island, and finish the race in a respectable position.
And we also saw a few incidents. I don't know if you saw yourself caught up in them or even caught what actually happened there, but a big field to field in an F3 race in these open wheelers. How did you experience that over the first few laps of the races?
Too difficult because I was starting in the top half of the field, so that definitely helped me avoid the majority of the incident. I saw a couple of incidents in race 1 and race 2 and managed to avoid them, mainly because they happened so far ahead of me that I didn't really get caught up in them in the first place.
And nice points on the bank account, so to say, here after the first rounds. Are you hoping to be able to contend for the title in the class at the end of the season?
It's certainly the aim to race for the title this season. This race tonight went beyond my expectations. So I'm really happy with it.
That's good to hear, Tim. Thanks for taking the time to join in. Sorry for the miscommunication there. I thought I dragged in Riz. It seems you have, well, Discord pictures that are quite close to one another. Might be the fact that you're teammates, and I hadn't figured that one out quite. So my apologies on that one. And before we let you go and celebrate, is there anyone you'd like to give a thanks or a shout out to?
I forgot who the guy was in the last race. Was Kevin? It was not Sensra, the other Kevin. What's his name? Well, I mean, he had to put up a lot of patience to stay behind me for so long, and the driving standards between us was it was really nice to see hard battling and just but fair. So thanks for those driving standards.
Well, that's good to hear, Tim. Thanks for taking the time to have this chat with us, and I hope we'll get to see more of you in the coming weeks.
Cheers, mate.
So we'll follow on with the guy I actually wanted to bring in before. I'm going to leave you with Edward May and Riz Saunders for a swift chat indeed.
So Reese joining us in the commentary box, and that was a cracking race from you, making 3 places on your way to a podium finish. How was that on the balance of the evening? That must have been a good way to round it all out.
Felt like a redemption arc for sure. We really struggled. We had some contact in race 1, which put us in trouble in race 2. But then race 3, we kind of showed our hand. We showed what we were capable of. So I was really happy. I was really pleased with the performance.
Yes, and of course, you and all of the year 1 teammates, you were in a fair few scraps, fair few battles. What was it like being, I'm guessing you were in the Discord all together talking it through?
It was quite intense because you'd hear swearing, you'd hear shouting and all sorts, and sometimes you were in clean air, sometimes you were side by side with somebody else. So yeah, there was a lot going on for us all, I think, for all 3 races.
Well, we won't ask you to repeat what was said, though. We want to keep sure that the broadcast is PG-13 at the very least, Reese. But it was a very intense evening's racing, I think you can agree. But coming into this, looking forward for the remainder of the season, do you think you can snatch a few more podiums, maybe even an overall race victory?
I think that's got to be the aim. It's got to be, top 5 finishes in most of the races. And if we can sneak a win somewhere, it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And of course, we did just have a word with one of your year 1 teammates, and I'm sure you will be thanking all of them. But is there anybody you would like to thank after this first 3 rounds of racing here at Suzuka?
I've been told I've got to thank my mum, so thanks, Mum, and hi, Mum. I'm on TV, and so that's it. And just year 1 and Alpha Live putting the car together.
No problem, Reese. Thank you as well for being involved in this, giving us some great racing to talk over. It's been very entertaining.
Cheers, chaps. Thank you.
And with that, Reese is the last person that we have time to interview this evening. Sorry to all the other drivers that we didn't have enough time to have a word with. But with that, Hasse, it is going to be all, and it has to be as well, sadly, a farewell for me, because I will be reluctantly giving up my seat for the man who's been in the commentary box for pretty much every season of the Simracersworld Formula 3 season. Mr. Chaz Draycott has finally been able to make time for us down here at Simracersworld, and will be joining you, Hasse, in the commentary box.
Yeah, he will in a week, next Thursday for rounds 4, 5, and 6A. It's gonna be, if it's gonna be as good as it's been tonight, it's gonna be one to watch indeed. I know for sure I have enjoyed it big time. I've enjoyed having you in the booth with me as always. Always a pleasure. So I do also look forward to getting Chess in as well. It's always a pleasure as well. It's a great team to be a part of here at SRW F3. So all my pleasure. Anyway, speaking of next Thursday, that's gonna be same time, same place for more of the same F3 racing. But in the meantime, we have the Porsche Cup GB International Series from Spa-Francorchamps with the Jack Attack, Jack Oliphant, and Jack Werrell at the comms. And of course, come Monday, have more NASCAR as well from the SRW NASCAR Next Gen Cup Series, the Viraco Las Vegas. With myself in the booth, joined by Marcus. If you want to see more great iRacing broadcasts from the world of sim racing as well, press the subscribe button. If you like what you've seen here tonight, do give us a like. And with that said, from Hasse Reumer and Edward May, it's been a pleasure having you all along. Thank you so much for joining you. Take care. Until next time, have fun.